You guys just you keep coming around. I just keep hearing about you guys.
And I might need to tell Ryan to cut that up a little bit and just put it in my audio for my phone.
First of all, I love the game. I had a passion to play the game, not only football, but I love the game of golf. And what it lends to a person and the friendships you develop on the golf course.
It's been a pleasure being on the drop. I wish you guys all the best down the road.
As someone like you have that golf itch like a lot of us do.
I keep track of you, and you are moving. You are on the move.
So listen, I'm a big New Jersey golf guy. You're very kind, Mike, and you too, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be on just a couple of Jersey boys here talking about something we love. All the best. I really enjoyed it.
This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Porro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back. Mike, episode 150. 150 is it's a big number, man. It didn't think it would get this far, and it's pretty cool that I'm seeing that at the top of our sheet here, but really cool to be here, and we wouldn't do it without the people that listen and follow along. So again, we say it at these milestones, and this feels like one of those. Thank you for you guys following along.
156 is 3 straight years. Just putting it out there for you, big fella. I'm not sure if you realize that. 6 episodes away from 3 straight years of an episode coming out once a week since this bad boy launched. Crazy times.
Pretty amazing. It really is. Mike, let's jump into the schedule real quick, and then we have some things to talk about today for sure, which I know people are wanting to hear. Yesterday, the 18th, was Monday, Magic Mike Monday. Mike played River's Edge when he was down in Myrtle Beach. Mike, was that the last course you played in Myrtle?
That was the first course. I think I might just put them out in order.
Okay. So Mike first, River's Edge, played the 9th hole. It's a par 5. It's called Arnie's Revenge. So you saw it yesterday. If you didn't, go check it out. It's over on Instagram, on YouTube, where all the places we put our stuff. Today, the 19th, episode 150. You got Mike and I here where you're listening. If you're watching, Mike waves to the camera. Hello, everyone. You got us on YouTube as well. Wherever you are, make sure that you are following along. Hit that follow button, rate, review, subscribe, all those things that we always say. Make sure you're doing those things. It really helps us out a lot. Wednesday, the 20th, Ryan that's me, versus Caledonia, the 9th hole. It's a par 3, a short little par 3, 118 yards. You're going back to when I played Caledonia back in the spring, Mike, but there's a reason we put these things out. We kind of had a week before. We needed a little buffer here, so this is a perfect time to put this out. I take on Caledonia's 9th hole. Then our guest for this week is the Director of Championships for New Jersey Golf, Brad Barden. Brad comes on, and Mike, we've talked. I feel like going into this interview, I knew Brad on a deeper level than any other guest that we've had before that we haven't met in person. I know you've met him. We've talked to him. We've talked about him. But it was nice to have Brad on and kind of talk about the 2025 schedule. We talk about the 2026 schedule. We talk about trying to get courses, and we really kind of hit a wide range of things in how Brad wants to set up tournaments and how he gets them and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really interesting interview, and that's our interview for this week, Thursday. Friday, Mike did a 3 and 30, played 3 holes, 30 seconds at River's Edge down in Myrtle. So that's the schedule for this week. Anything else is going to be a bonus, but that's what we got moving in for this week.
Today's episode is brought to you by All County Exteriors, your go-to for roofing, siding, windows, doors, and all things exterior home remodeling. As a third-generation family-owned company with over 40 years of experience, All County has earned the reputation for top-quality craftsmanship and service, far outlasting the industry standard. Whether it's a small repair or a full home upgrade, they serve both homeowners and builders across New Jersey. They're deeply rooted in the community, proudly supporting Make-A-Wish, St. Jude's, Roofs for Troops, and parents of autistic children. Thinking about a project? Now's the time. Get an instant 20% off for a limited time. Call 732-370-2780 or email them info@allcountyonline.com to schedule your free, no obligation consultation. That's 732-370-2780. All County Exteriors. Quality you can trust. So let me hit you here with the fast facts. Now, I'll try to be as fast as I can here, but this is like we're watching live as this thing is, as we're recording, because the BMW championship is still ongoing as we're recording this. So the movement that is going on for next week's tour championship for us at this moment is constantly changing. It's a very, very fluid situation here because Chris is not playing the greatest. Okay. He's had a little bit of a rough week. He did start his fourth round in a positive manner by birdieing the first hole. But as everybody knows, you got to be in the top 30 in the FedEx Cup to make the tour championship. Currently, Chris right now is sitting at T31. That's what he's projected. He's actually projected 31st. I take that back, which means he's the first guy out of this week's tour championship. So I won't have an update for you while this episode is going on, whether or not Chris is in or not, because a guy makes a birdie later in the round, that is going to change if he's in or he's out. Really, what needs to happen is Chris needs to go 5-6 under par to lock in that 29th or 30th spot. But right now, I don't have an answer as to if Chris will be playing in next week's tour championship or
not. and Mike, just to kind of go into that, if he does get in, remember, this is the year where they're starting all even next week. It's not that ridiculous 10 under, 9 under, 8 under, 7 under, and just try chasing the leader. Everyone's starting from even, and the winner is the winner of the tour championship. So
right. And by getting into the tour championship, all the perks, Chris is different because he's won a tournament this season. So he's getting into the Masters and all the majors, but just by playing it, the money that you can win with a no cut event again is exponential, on top of your point that, hey, listen, if he actually wins a tournament, he's going to win a boatload of money. So I can't comment right now if Chris is playing this week or not, but our fingers are crossed as I am glued to the screen on the refresh button over here.
There is no doubt that you have heard from us if Chris gets in. You probably saw it on Sunday or Monday.
Yeah.
So
that's what I got on the PGA Tour side. But on the Korn Ferry Tour side, we're out there at the Albertsons Boise Open. Another tongue twister out there on the Korn Ferry Tour. Ryan did miss the cut. James is sitting T8. Obviously, the time zones keeps us a little bit off our wagon here, so we're not really sure whether or not James did anything crazy. But again, to your earlier point, if he did, you probably had heard from us. But this also leads us into the first leg of the Korn Ferry Tour playoffs, which will begin September 11th. So they go on a little bit of a break here. All right. Thankfully, James and Ryan are both inside the top 156. So just to give everybody a little bit of a breakdown as to how the Korn Ferry Tour does their 4-week playoff. You need to be inside the top 156 on the points list to get into the first tournament. Then after that, it's 144 the following week. The third week is 120, and then the final week is the top 75. As it stands right now, okay, James and Ryan are both outside the 75 number, which means they need to play well within these next 3 weeks to secure a spot in the Korn Ferry Tour Championship.
Again, that's the old adage of survive in advance. You got to play well. I would imagine in that top 156, if you play well, it just continues to bring your number down, kind of like we were just talking about with Chris there, needing to play well to get inside the top 30 there. So it's really the name of the game at this point in the year. Play well, keep moving on.
And that is it for today's Fast Facts.
All right, Mike, we got a couple things on the list here.
I need to start, though. Let me start this. I know we have a few topics that we can touch on here after this, but we have to start with Ryan's recap because the Ireland trip that you went on was one for the ages, as our friend Dan Hicks likes to say. And I know you do it every other year, but whatever the case, it's still one that pops up that I'm sure you look forward to. And the amount of DMs and comments that were posted about this thing or that thing, I couldn't really comment on. I did my best, and all I kept saying to everybody was, tune in Tuesday, huge episode coming out. So for all those people that I commented that too, here we go. I think it's important that I'm going to probably put the mic down and just be like everybody else and listen and follow along as you recap your trip across the pond playing some unbelievable golf courses.
Mike, the first thing I want to say to that is we joked the entire trip that this is the 5th biannual trip of a lifetime. So while it's only my second trip, they've been doing this, this open, as they call it now, for 5 years, or 5 times, I should say. So the quick little background before I get into the courses. One of my closest buddies moved to Dublin. He works in Dublin and is now raising his family there. And so he organizes this trip, and it's gotten progressively bigger. I think there was just a foursome the first time. It grew to, an eightsome. When I went, when we first started this podcast 2 years ago, there was 12 of us. This year, there were 16 of us. So it is growing progressively bigger. It is an amazing trip. It really is. And we do lovingly joke that it's a trip of a lifetime, because it really is. There's so many pinch me moments throughout there, from just like, we get a driver. So we have a big bus that drives us around. We get out, pull the golf clubs out of the travel bag, go play golf, put them back in the travel bag, go to the next hotel, sleep, go out to dinner and whatever. We'll stay in the hotel. Next day, go play golf, take them out of the bag, go play, put them back in. So it is a rinse and repeat formula. And we do have some amazing golf courses on there. Golf in Ireland is a little bit different. They do have memberships to clubs, but it's not like here in America where it's like a country club. The higher level ones, I imagine, like Royal Portrush is probably pretty private. Adair Manor, where the Ryder Cup is in 27, I imagine that's relatively private. But my buddy's dad and brother are international members at Carne Golf Links, which is where we started. They live in New Jersey. Both of them are New Jersey residents. They spend, I would say 99% of the year in New Jersey, except for when they go on vacations to Ireland or Florida with the family or whatever it may be. And my buddy is a member at County Sligo at Ross's Point. And again, he lives in Ireland, but that's 3 hours from where he lives. It's across the country. So it is very cool that they have this a very open concept to golf, to all the people, that you can be a member, but it is really open to everybody. So that's just a couple of things I wanted to point out before I kind of broke this down. And while I'm not going to break down every hole of every course, I do want to spend some time on a couple of them, because there's some really cool features to all these here. But basically, I flew out on Thursday, 7:30 flight, get you into Dublin at 7:30 the next morning. So try sleeping overnight. Worked poorly, right? I slept for about 45 minutes of the 6-hour flight. So, I'm going into Friday's round. We land in Dublin by the time we get lunch and head out and go play. It's about 3:00 by the time we tee off in Korn. And at Korn, there are 27 holes. And they break those holes up into it's a very strange way that they break them up. It's tough to figure out the routing, because sometimes you're playing one of the nines, like 9A and 9B, and sometimes you're playing 9A and 9B in a different order. So it's a little confusing as to how the holes go. But basically what happened is there was an original 18 there, and they've added more holes as they've gone on, but they have a championship routing. But again, sometimes they don't play it in the championship order, which is, again, it's a little confusing. I think I started to understand it. And then by the end of the round, I didn't understand it. So I'm not really sure if I can describe it any better. But I will say this. So we go out to Carne. We play 9 holes the first day. And the 9 holes we played are part of the Hackett course. That's part of the original course there. Eddie Hackett's a famous golf course designer. He designed the original course there. So we go out and play. Friday's weather in Ireland when I get there, sustained 60-mile-an-hour winds. It is blowing. I took a video of a flag that's at a 45-degree angle, just continuing to blow because it's that hard. So I felt like I hit the ball really well on that 9. I think I shot 43, but it really felt pretty good because the wind was brutal. Like I hit a pitching wedge nearly 200 yards, and I hit a driver 115 yards. So it was really whipping that day. So then we go to sleep. We come back the next day. We finish the 18 at Carne. Carne Golf Links is a super unique, super special, amazing place. I've been saying it now for 2 years. Anytime I've told people about this, it really literally looks like they just sent out sheep. Like Eddie Hackett builds the first course there. He sends out sheep to go mow the grass. And that's how he decides, okay, there's going to be a fairway through this valley. There's going to be another fairway through this valley, because the dunes there are so rugged and natural looking that it doesn't look like machines were used to build the course. And it's just really an amazing plot through the land. It literally just I can't describe it any other way. It doesn't look like a golf course should be here. It looks like sheep and cows just grazed, and people were like, "Oh, okay, let's hit this ball while we chase the sheep." And that's literally what it looks like. And the mounds on the side are just you don't have a whole lot of. There's some waste bunkers, but it's all fescue. It's all like thick fescue grass that is just, if you go in it, best of luck trying to find it, because it's not easy to find. It's not easy to hit out of. You're constantly looking for all the courses that we played have very similar, like that's the link style thing. You're looking to see if it bounces, because if it doesn't bounce, that means it's buried in the bottom of the grass, and you really just have to step on it to find it. But if it bounces, there's a chance it might still sit on top. And if it sits on top, you can get a club on it. So with that, like the ruggedness, the uniqueness of it, it's really a very interesting and again, unique place is the only way I can describe it. It's the only course really that looks like that. While we played links courses, Sligo, Portnoo, St. Patrick's, Sandy Hills, they all have those big dunes. They all have the fescue lining the fairways. They all have cavernous waste bunkers, but there's a ruggedness to Carne that the others don't have. That again, it just doesn't look like machines touched it or built it. It's a very, very interesting place. Also, Mike, the golf course at Carne is the closest golf course to America in Europe, which I thought was super interesting as we were going through. So one of the holes I recorded is the closest hole to America in Europe, where you tee off from. So I thought that was pretty unique, but I'll put that in the description when those come out. But it was really pretty cool. So as I said, we play. I mentioned the wind on Friday, 60 miles an hour sustained. It was ludicrous. Much better on Saturday, probably like 50 miles an hour sustained. So it was really pumping. And I will say, I was putting out the over-unders. I was really pretty spot on with my over-unders. In fact, I think maybe it's a mental thing. I should have put like 75, and that's what I would have shot, over-under. But I was on the half every time, except for one of the days. It was really pretty good. But I'll tell you that the 86 I shot at Wild Dunes, it felt like a 73. because of how windy it was and how tough the conditions were. I really felt like I hit the ball well, which if you remember before, if you guys following along, or Mike, if you remember before, I shot a 56 on the front nine at Shoregate like 2 weeks before I left for the trip. So I had some troubles hitting the ball. I really felt like I hit the ball well for the whole trip, but especially that first 18 at Carne. I really did.
Are you looking for the perfect place to tee it up this season? Or just looking for a great spot for casual comfort food? Or the most picturesque backdrop for the wedding of your dreams? Then you need to visit Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Galloping Hill has 18 holes of championship level golf open all year round. They also offer a top 50 in the country learning center that also includes the swing suite at Galloping Hill for those bad weather days during the season, in addition to a 9 hole course that is ranked in the top 10 of short courses in the entire country. Galloping Hill is more than just golf. The Hill Tavern Bar and Grill is a gastro pub with seasonal food and beer options updated regularly with amazing views of the course. Hosting over 150 golf outings and over 400 social events per year, their catering team wins awards each year from the Knot and Wedding Wire. Schedule a tour for your special event at the clubhouse at gallopinghill.com. To top it all off, Galloping Hill will be hosting the New Jersey Men's Public Links Championship for the record 12th time. It's all happening this year at Galloping Hill.
We do stop at places, for dinner, and we do a little, almost like a little pub crawl, but we find a spot to like have dinner and sit down. It's not your regimented like 18, have a granola bar, another 18. There is some travel, and there is some food involved, food and drink. So that is the part of the trip that you wouldn't like. So we leave Carn, we go to this, we stop at this place called the Beach Bar. Again, we do this all the time, but like stereotypical, cute little Irish pub, basically. Then we go, check in the hotel, we sleep, wake up the next day, we play Sligo. Now, County Sligo is all of the counties throughout Ireland. They have golf courses, just like, the Monmouth County Park System, Ocean County, like they have counties. So I'm not exactly sure. I think the whole name of the golf court is County Sligo Golf Club at Ross's Point. So Ross's Point is like the town that it's in, but it's County Sligo is the whole county. So I don't know if there's other ones. I think that might have been a question we got because I kept saying County Sligo. But it's specifically the one at Ross's Point for, whatever people may want there. County Sligo is a proper golf club, if I could use an Irish term. They love using the words, it's a proper club. I was trying to bring some words back there. I'll add some in later. But you get there and it's just a beautiful vista that you're looking out on. It has there's this big rock that has, County Sligo. You kind of look out. It's the first hole, the second hole kind of go up. The third hole comes back. And by the time you get to the fourth and fifth hole, you're on top of the cliff. And I believe it's a fifth hole that you hit. And it's a, I don't know, 200-300 foot drop that you're hitting out into this fairway. And just a stunning view of the rest of the holes there. It's really a beautiful, beautiful hole. And that fifth hole, I will say, I'm pretty sure it's a fifth hole, right? I went driver 7-iron to a 1.5 feet, tapped in for the eagle. So really, I loved that hole. It was beautiful. It was nice. I hit some good shots. But to my point before, I hit 7-iron from like 195 because you really just want to let the ball keep rolling. So it's a little with the wind. I played it short of the green, and I just happened to get lucky that it rolls up on the green. Pin was back. So I was very happy about that. It helped me in our Stableford match that day. But Sligo has a beautiful little locker room. The bar is, I love a good 19th hole, Mike. And I didn't mention this at Carne, and I should have. The 19th hole at Carne and Sligo, they sit right at the tee box there, and it just overlooks everything. And by sit on, I mean it's on the same level, and it's 20 feet from where you're teeing off or where the green is. Like, they all kind of come right in there. It is absolutely stunningly beautiful, and I really got some great pictures from there. That was really pretty awesome. So again, Sligo was also, we got some Irish weather at Sligo. It was beautiful when we teed off. Slight wind. It definitely was not as windy in Sligo as it was at Carne. Then it rained for a hole and a half, where I had to put the thick rain jacket on and the rain pants, and then took them off. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to deal with a little bit of drizzle, because I don't want to be in the rain pants. So then by the end of the round, sun came out again. So it was perfect Irish weather that you kind of go through there. But it's a amazing golf course. It's a beautiful golf course. It's a golf course, and I told my buddy this: I could play this course over and over and over again and not get bored. It was really a fun golf course to play. Then we stopped at the little bar in town called Austy's, and I got to give a shout out to Austy's, because this is just such a tiny little pub there. If you remember 2 years ago, I think I had said it. We had a bet with the bartenders, so they put the money behind the bar. The little video exchange there. It was a fun little time there, as betting on the Ryder Cup and who's going to win. So we had some fun there. Mike, I'm kind of interested to talk about this next one, because then we get up from Sligo, we leave, and we go to Portnoo. Portnoo is the name of the course is Narin Portnoo is what it's called, but it's in the town of Portnoo. It's a Gil Hanse designed course. Gil Hanse, apparently, from what I've understood, and there's a story here, Gil Hanse touched every hole majorly except for the 6th hole. The 6th hole is the one I recorded there. It's a par 3. It's over a deep vista. It's basically hitting from one dune to the other. Beautiful views. I really hope that it shows on the Ryan's verse. So let me get to the story. A bunch of years ago, a new ownership group buys it. They bring in Gil Hanse to design it. He does this update to it. Then they bring in a manager to run the course. That manager apparently doesn't do a very good job. He does things like cut off the beach access. And in Ireland, people have, I forget the terminology, but basically you can use any road. Like, you have open access, I think is what it is, to the beach there. So there's like a little road that, yes, it's on the golf course, but the people in town are allowed to, walk or drive on the path to get to the beach there, the beachfront. This manager apparently closed off the beach access. He not to get into too many things, he apparently pisses off a lot of people in town, to the point where people are protesting at the golf course. Not only that, he fires a few superintendents, to the point where he was cutting the grass himself. So he's, another thing he did was closed 4 or 5 holes to only make it 13 holes in the winter, so that people couldn't post a score, because it's not a 14 hole round. So then they couldn't post to their handicap out there. So he does all these things to make people not want to play it, and money stopped coming in, and it went into disrepair, for lack of a better term, which is a shame, because it's a Gil Hanse design. You might have heard of his name before, and I don't understand why this guy would do this, but he did it. And we go from this disrepair to the ownership then fires the guy very recently, from what I understand, like within the last 6-8 months, and they bring in somebody new, and this new guy is bringing it back to where our caddy was telling us this story. And is explaining it and talking about how it's grown in the last couple months. So it's already getting better. So I will say this about Portnoo. It is a fantastic track. The layout is amazing. It does need TLC. And it seems like it's getting it now. And it's only going to get better and better and better. To the point, Mike, where I think they're going to host championships there. I really think that they could host amateur stuff there for Ireland, because it's such a fantastic layout. It just needs the TLC that it didn't get from the previous manager. So I was excited to play it. I hope that on the next trip we get to play it again, because I did think that it was excellent. Again, if you don't take, if you can see the forest through the trees, you see that there's a great golf course in there. There was just spots there that it just needed help with. And it just takes time. It doesn't even take a lot of money. It just takes a lot of time. They've already put the money into it for the redesign. So I did like it there. Fun place to play. Beautiful views. A lot of holes along the water there that you can, you're hitting from kind of vista to vista, but you have the Atlantic Ocean along the side there. It was really, really, really beautiful views there. So yeah, that was a fun place as well. And then we go up north. We keep going up the coast, and we go up north to the resort. It's called Rosapenna. And Rosapenna has 3 golf courses. Old Tom Morris designed the first course there. It's called Old Tom. The next one is called Sandy Hills, and the newest one is called St. Patrick's. Now, those that have listened, I've talked about St. Patrick's because we played it last time. And it opened, it's a Tom Doak course, and it opened in 2021, I want to say, the year before we got there, at number 52 in the world, and it's down to number 48 in the world. And it has gotten better from the last time I played it. So when we played it last time, it was still growing. Like there were spots that just like the grass hadn't taken yet because they just fertilized and they just, seeded. So it got so much better. It's such a great track. It is, I will still say it's on my Mount Rushmore of golf courses from outside of New Jersey in my whole life. It is absolutely fantastic. The day before we played Sandy Hills though, which I do want to spend a little bit more time on, just because Sandy Hills was the other course that we didn't play last time. We played Old Tom and St. Patrick's. Sandy Hills is like a JV St. Patrick's. It is absolutely beautiful. The vistas, the whole course really is stunning. It has some tight fairways and some really hard shots where you have to put it where the caddy tells you, hey, this is your line. You got to take it over this hill or do this with it. You got to put a draw on it. You got to put a fade on it, or you want to end it here. And it's where the caddy relationship there is so important, because they have to be you have to be on the same page with each other. Hey, hit it here or put it here, because there are a lot of blind shots. There are a lot of parts where like, hey, if you miss the fairway, you might hit it in the fairway, but you missed your line and it's going to roll off and into a ravine that now you got to hit out of, or there's a bunker that you can't see. There's a lot of that, like that ground game on the fairways there that have a lot of those kind of moguls in the fairways. So overall, it was just an absolutely incredible trip. I can't thank my buddy enough for putting it on. So many good people on the trip, Mike. People that I don't see all the time or talk to all the time, but you go on a trip like this, and it's like now we're connected. We had such a good experience that it's good people around good people doing playing great courses. It was really, really special, and I do want to give a shout out to everybody that was on the trip. A couple people are new and hopefully now listeners of the show, but it was really, really special. So big thank you to my buddy for putting it together. His brother was our commissioner of the games, so thank you for putting it on. And big shout out to Team One for the victory.
There you go. I mean,
I was
listen,
on Team One, Mike.
I'm looking forward to seeing all the content that comes out. The videos look good. The stories were great. So yeah, I'm excited to see everything.
Yeah, I do feel like, and I hate this, and I've said it before. We talked about it when we had Evan Schiller on. I thought the pictures that I posted were the best that I could find in the ones that I took, but they still don't do justice to exactly how beautiful and the depth of what's there. It's really amazing over there. I don't have any other words to describe it. It's so very good. So there is one thing I want to add, Mike. You talked about my handicap getting lower. I shot 86, 85, 93. I think are my rounds there. Anyway, you wanted my handicap to go lower. I thought I played really well there. But in Ireland, and if you remember, we talked about how the course rating happens is like where obstacles are in play. I really think this, because St. Patrick's, again, one of the best courses in the world, has a rating of 125. The slope rating is 125. So it's less hard, in theory, than Shark River, which I constantly knock. And all the ricochet shots that Shark River takes. I don't think in Ireland, and I don't know about the rest of Europe, they don't consider the fescue, like the grass, a hazard. They don't consider it like a bunker or water. So the slope and rating of these courses is really low because there's not a lot of obstacles. If you keep it in play, like if you hit it right down the middle and you hit it on the green, like you're going to be rather fine. There's not many bunkers that are placed strategically, right? Like if down the right hand side, a lot of people fade the ball, right? There's not a lot of that. But I think they need to consider the fescue kind of like water, because if you go in there, we kept saying it, we kept calling it the love grass, right? Because if you go in there, you're basically. So it's very interesting that no, my handicap did not go down, to answer your point, but I thought I played some of the best golf I've played maybe this summer. And it went up because I don't think the slope and rating matches what we have here in America, is how I'll put it. I think St. Patrick's, if you put that course in America, I think they're rating it somewhere in the 150, having a slope rating of 145, 150 is really what I think it should be. But when you don't consider the fescue a hazard, it comes out to 125. We played a course, Korn was 119. Now, again, there's some bunkers, but the fescue and the wind, forget it. It was wild to see it, and I don't know how we can talk to somebody about that or get some information on that, but it was definitely something I wanted to mention because it was really pretty crazy.
Have to talk to a golf course rater for that.
Yeah, hopefully somebody, hopefully we can get a hold of a European golf rater and see. Or, maybe one of our guys here knows. I'll have to see. So anyway, that's my Ireland trip. Appreciate everyone following along and hitting the numbers on the polls there. It really was fun. It was fun to do.
There you go. Trip of a lifetime, as you like to say. See you in 2 years.
Yeah. Mike, I know people are probably asking about my ratings of the courses, and I don't have a number. If I'm being honest, I got, we're recording. I got back yesterday from the trip, and we're recording the next day, and I haven't been able to sit down and put numbers to these. I will certainly, but I don't have them right now. And here's what I would say about it. St. Patrick's is one of the best courses I've ever played. It's on my Mount Rushmore. I think it's excellent. I think Sandy Hills and County Sligo are right behind it, I would say. in like that next tier. And then I would put Carne after it, and I would end with Portnoo if I was rating these in an order. That said, as I said when I was talking about Portnoo, I think the potential there is sky high. I really do. Just unbelievably amazing. It really was. Just needs TLC. So again, sorry for those that don't get a number. Again, St. Patrick's somewhere in the high 90s, mid 90s, somewhere in there, and then going down from there. But yeah, there you go.
That's it. Enjoy it.
Mike, there are two things that we got to mention that are coming up here. The Met Open is happening this week, and so is the NJ Pub Links. They are the Pub Links is happening at Galloping Hill. We talked about that with Chris when we went up there and played the course. It's happening tomorrow, Wednesday, 36 holes. Again, we'll kind of talk and recap that in next week's show or the next time that we talk, because that's another thing we're going to get to in a second. And the Met Open, kind of what we need to spend a little bit more time on. Absolutely loaded field. If I'm not mistaken, Mike, 54 holes total. They play 2 rounds and make a cut, and then there's a final round. So we got a lot of golf going on there. That's an absolutely loaded field. You got some stud names in that field there.
Yeah, I mean, you and I were going through that thing, and you got guys like Ryan McCormick on the Korn Ferry Tour that are, showing up. You got Dawson Jones coming up from the minor league golf tour down there in Florida. He's showing up. You can sprinkle in local guys like Jack Wall. You got Nick Bova, you got Tyler Hall, you got a lot of New Jersey guys. You got defending champ in the fields. You got Dean's playing. You got it's his name upon name.
Ton of college guys that we've talked to, Milan and Colin, and yeah, I don't want to continue naming names because I don't want to miss anybody, but it is an absolutely loaded field.
Yeah, it's going to be one to see. Like, you want to talk about a heavyweight matchup. Whoever comes out on top of this has played some unbelievable golf, and we're going to do everything we can to work behind the scenes with the MGA to get this winner on. We did lock in the MGA amateur winner. I was gonna say am, but Dean will be on the show to kind of recap his win. So it'd be nice to see if we can kind of dabble with the Met Open winner as well. So yeah, big things ahead. Big tournament.
Yeah, it is. And it's being played at Meadow Brook, which is on Long Island. They kind of rotate through there for the Met. So yeah, looking forward to that. But we'll recap those the next time that we meet. And Mike, we should talk about that because you and I are in New Jersey for 2 or 3 days, the whole month of August together. So as I'm just getting back, Mike's heading on vacation. So next week episode is going to be similar to last week's, where we are having a course feature on Crystal Springs and our time up there that we had. So we had a great stay over, and that's going to be next week's episode, kind of like last week's episode where we were down at Shoregate. It's just too much for Mike and I with his traveling, with my traveling to get some time and spend some time together like this with time zone changes and honestly just sometimes you just need to get away and get some family time. So we have Crystal Springs next week is going to be our episode. So we will talk about the Pub Links in 2 weeks. We will talk about the Met Open in 2 weeks, kind of recap those, and then obviously whatever else comes up, we will certainly be talking about. We should be gearing up for Korn Ferry Tour finals. The PGA finals have happened, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about in 2 weeks. Next week is going to be a course feature on Crystal Springs there. So, Mike, I think that's it. You got anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Ooh. For those that hate the sound of my voice, I am sorry that I talked for so long, but we did have such a big recap on Ireland. So, with that said, stay tuned for our guest on Thursday, Brad Barden, Director of Championships at New Jersey Golf. Till then, cheers.